Yeah, Jonathan, well done. Let's talk about your performance first of all. Was that one of those days where just everything went right for you from the very, very start?
I don't know, it's boxy enough now, to be honest. I suppose when I got the first goal, I kind of pushed on from there. And it was just lucky, everything broke my way anyway, so I was happy that way.
I think people might think it was a little bit more than luck. Let's talk about that goal first of all, because it was the goal at the start. That was an incredible goal. Do you remember much about it?
All I remember is I thought I was going to get clobbered on the way in there. I threw the ball up in there. I don't know, it was pure luck now, in fairness. Pure luck.
So it wasn't an intentional flick over?
Well, when I started running, I suppose I didn't stop, and when I got the chance to goal, I said I'd stay going, so I opened up, and in fairness, I suppose the boys ran around me there and they pulled everyone out of my way. I kind of had a clear out run, so like the hard work was done by the boys running off, do you know.
What's this about Galway only having one forward?
It's fucking bullshit, as you see yourselves. Sorry. Like 6 forwards there. Joe is probably the best forward in the game, but like there's 5 more of us out there as well, and like when you pull a bit of heat off him, see how well he can play, he can score every ball.
Did you have concerns at how little you were ahead at half-time, given how many chances you had?
Well, I suppose I a few stupid shots there in the first half, and I put it into the goalie's hand, but like in the second half, it went our way. It did. Like we got the grub of the green. Like so, you know, we have to say we got a bit of luck too on the day.
Well, like we said before, it was a bit more than luck. How did it feel when you were coming off there at the end and the incredible reception you got?
I don't know, the cheering for Healy coming on there, I'd say.
Jonathan Glenn, congratulations. Well done.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Joanne Cantwell down on the pitch, and in the commentary box, of course, this afternoon were Ger Canning and Michael Duignan. Let's see what the panel thought of all that. Gentlemen, I have to say, I found that a very strange second half, and I think one of you said it here to me just at the end of the match. So Cork basically gave up.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
They were a sorry side today, Cork. No spirit, no pride in the jersey, things we associate with Cork down through the years. You know, in Thurles, you never see them giving a display like that, you know, and you know, Cork hurling is in a very serious place, you know, after today. Very, very serious when you consider that they haven't won anything at underage. But we can't take away from Galway.
Sure,
and from Anthony
yes.
Cunningham. You know, the way he set up his team, how they caught Cork out, you know, waiting for this big physical challenge. And instead of that, through their movement and through their pace and intelligent movement, you know, very, very intelligent movement, and the use of their young players, you know, I think the great encouragement, you know, people are always saying, oh, well, we play Joe Canning. If they can only get Joe Canning on the ball, if they're going to get somebody to support Joe, there you are. Joe was only the least, well, apart from Cyril Donlan. You know, he just had one of those days that every player has.
Yeah.
But to see, you know, Cathal Mannion and Jason Flynn.
And the debutant, Conor Whelan, coming in and scored in a goal and 2 points.
Isn't it brilliant? Yeah. And of course, Jonathan Glenn was an absolute colossus right from the start. Brilliant in the air. They just cleaned out Cork in every aspect of the game. You know, they were just totally superior. He was lucky for Cork that they shot 21 or 22 wides. Otherwise, 23. Otherwise, it would have been a record score in a championship game. They were just totally obliterated.
Liam, on another day, if Joe Canning, as he normally is, was in deadly form, and if he had an off day today, obviously, it would have been a wipeout altogether.
Yeah, it would, and we said that coming up to half-time, you know, they had the 9 wides in the first half. They were well on top of this game, but, like, Cork never really fired. Like, you know, Jimmy Barry Murphy, I think he's overachieved with this team winning a Munster title and getting them to an All-Ireland, to be honest with you.
Yes.
He's had nothing coming through. I mean, if you look at Waterford and you look at the Austin Gleesons and the Currans and the Shane Bennett's coming through, I mean, what's coming through in Cork? I mean, really, he's not got any line of talent coming through, and it's very, very difficult. And look, within that group that he has, there's a complete lack of leadership. There's no one to stand up. We've seen it in the first match today. After half-time, Kevin Moran said, hands up, I'll take this on. I'll bring it on and I'll take the game on. Cork don't have that. And again, you know, they showed glimpses of it again when they came back from 2 points down to win by 3 against Clare. But you know, that defensive performance there was just completely substandard, and Cork are in real trouble.
Yeah, because it was fascinating to watch Cork, Eddie, through this year's championship, having limped out of Munster. Looked like they were beginning to try and get a bit of shape in themselves through the qualifiers, and then they come today, and the next thing, the whole thing has just gone pear-shaped.
Yeah, definitely, and from my own perspective, I've been kind of giving Cork a bit of the benefit of the doubt all along, kind of saying, look, they have the tradition.
Yes.
But you go back to 97 for their last 21 title, 2001 for their last minor title. So, you know, I think this is an argument that has been made before. They're just not at the races at all, and even from a defensive point of view, I mean, you'd be saying whoever is going to take on this Cork job now, they haven't any real quality defenders there now.
So-
Today was the show of it.
Basically, what you guys are saying is this is a bigger debate than just this team here at the moment. But it's
definitely.
the structure of
Yeah.
hurling in Cork.
Yes,
But
because what has happened today has been happening to them at minor and under 21 for the last 10 years. You know, Clare and the under 21 last year, it wasn't even a contest.
Yeah.
Remember inside?
Yeah.
It was over by half
Yeah.
time. They just obliterated them, the very same as Galway did there today. So I'd agree completely with Liam here that Jimmy Barry Murphy completely overachieved with his team. He got in the finals, he won a Munster final with them, you know, was within a stroke of winning in All Ireland. But they are very, very limited players, and there's nothing new coming in. That is the whole thing.
When you
No under 21 players coming into it. They're just it is just in a terrible bad spot at the moment.
And if you go into looking back through the match, in the 58th minute, there was 4 points in that match, and that's where your leaders, your steel takes
Yes.
over. I mean, Galway threw them a lifeline. I mean, Galway were way on top today. When Galway lulls, they almost let Cork back into it.
Yeah.
They had it back to 4 points, and that's where I think if you had the quality we're talking about, lads to step up, catch a ball, win a free, drive through the heart of defence, take a rattle and win a free, get you back to 3 points. Cork just hadn't someone to do that today, and that's the most disappointing thing from their perspective.
Well, Cork had gone out of the championship, Liam. There's not too much distance between yourselves and Galway down there along the Shannon.
Nice bit of river.
I'd say they'd be,
Luckily. Yeah,
they'd be looking forward to taking a bit of a rattle at you.
Well, look, they will. I mean, there's been great contests with Galway over the years, and I think even if you go back to last year, you know, Galway with 20 minutes to go
I
was
know,
7 points
yes,
up here in
yeah,
Thurles,
yeah.
got 4 goals and ended up losing the game by 9.
That's right,
You
yeah.
know, now look, I still think there's question like the Galway defence. You know, they weren't really tested today. You know, the thing is, will that spine of the Galway defence stand up in the heat of battle above in Crow Park in a few weeks' time? That's going to be their big test. They have the firepower up front. They're really strong physically. Jonathan Glenn and these guys able to win their own ball, but you know, they'll really relish the battle. I mean, they'll feel they left something behind when they came to Thurles last year in that qualifier match. So now they'll get a chance for redemption. So it'll be a very interesting semi-final, no doubt.
It was funny the way the two games worked out here in Thurles this afternoon, because you would have thought it was going to be the other way around, that the first game Waterford might just have been too strong for Dublin and might drift away from them, and that was actually quite a tight game. It was this game that turned out to be a one-sided affair.
Nobody would have dreamt that it would turn out so one-sided. And it was one-sided everywhere except on the scoreboard all the way through the game after the first 10 minutes, because Galway were completely on top. They were way, way better. I think the good thing about today is the two teams that won. You know, going into a semi-final, you'd say, God, they really made a statement here today. These two, you know, both Waterford and Galway. You know, no question they were the two better teams. But the semi-finals now are not the foregone conclusion that a lot of people would have thought before today, because, you know, we'll still have the doubts about Galway. Will they appear in a semi-final?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, if that team that played there today with that attitude, and it all goes, the change, I think, is what Liam pointed out before the game started at all, is what was evident in the Leinster final. The intensity, the work, the honest work rate that's in the Galway team this year, and that they didn't collapse against Kilkenny when Kilkenny took, got the initiative in the Leinster final. They continue that on here today. That's the difference between this Galway and many other Galways. And they'll go into the semi-final. You know, they're really hurting after what happened last year against Tipperary here.
Yeah.
And that will be some semi-final.
It will, because, I mean, Anthony Cunningham stressed this, Eddie, after the Leinster final a couple of times, that, OK, they lost the match, but they didn't feel like that they were damaged by the defeat. And looking back on that game, they got a bit lost a few times during the match, and obviously Kilkenny were a better team than them on the day. But there was enough in them to come back, I suppose, and do something quite like this today.
Jimmy, hard luck today. Was there something or anything in particular that disappointed you most about today?
Well, I suppose from the word go, we seem to be second to every ball all over the field. Very, very few of our players at all played up to the standard we'd expect from them today. And just have to say, fair play to Galway. They were much, much better from the word go. We gave away a very soft goal in the first minute, playing with the win, and that set the tone for the whole game, I think, and just comprehensively outplayed.
Did you like fight?
I don't think we lacked fight, and sometimes you just got to put your hand up and say the better team won. They were too physical for us, too strong on the day, won all the crucial battles, and you know, even when we came back a bit there in the second half, we had a couple of chances to maybe to narrow the gap and keep the game going a bit longer, but it was really fighting a lost cause, I thought, from a good bit out.
But that is the point, isn't it? And why should it be like that? I mean, are you that far behind Galway?
Well, maybe we are. I mean, sometimes you have to face reality, and on today's display, we were off the pace that they were at, and I don't think we're as bad as that, but that's for another day to find out.
Well, it was only a couple of years ago since you only just lost an All-Ireland final. So how can it be where you're wondering, are you that far behind Galway from that?
Well, as I said already, on today's display we are, but I mean our display against Clare was very good. We won the Munster Championship last year, which was a great achievement, but again, on the bigger days later on we've fallen short, and it's as simple as that.
Do you know why that is?
I don't know really, maybe we're just not good enough at times and we lack the calibre of players that it takes to win All-Irelands, but the lads have given us everything. I couldn't ask any more from them over the last few years. They've made a massive commitment to us and I think they deserve great credit for that.
What about you going forward now?
Oh yeah, I can't wait for next year.
And you're fully intend to be around for next year?
Can't wait for next year.
Jimmy, thanks very much. Thank you.
Well, Jimmy Barry Murphy making a very definite statement there at the end.
It's unusual.
I'm sure the way things have gone this evening, he's not looking forward to the next couple of days anyway.
But in fairness, he shouldn't be asking a question like that. Jimmy has given such service to Cork, in every way, as a player, football and hurling, and as a manager, 2 stints there, and came within an ace of winning All-Ireland. And the one line I take from there is maybe we haven't the calibre of player, he says, and that is really it. That is, you cannot blame Jimmy Barry Murphy, his methods or anything else. Jimmy has always got the best out of teams. The calibre of player, the bottom line is the calibre of player is not there in Cork at the moment. And that is the problem they have to address.
The one thing that was interesting also out of the interview, Liam, is when he said that Galway were too physical for Cork. It's rare that I would see a Cork team capitulate in that department.
Yeah, but I mean, the first goal probably was a summation of the day, to be honest with you. I mean, you have a guy running from inside his own 65, breaking onto a ball, running through, throwing a ball over a defender's head and banging it into the back of the net, and wasn't touched, and it nearly goes back to 2013 when Pat Donlan went up the field and sold it in. I mean, defensively, they're extremely frail. And, the man-to-man defensive act, which says, thou shalt not pass. I mean, go back to the Ronan Kearns and the John Gardners. If you went down that wing, you'd probably find yourself outside the old stand there.
And then you meet the rock.
And then you meet the rock before you get in there at all. And you're landed and you're tumbled. But they're missing that. And they really have to go back, and they have to go back to their development squads and say, are we building defenders of the future in our structures? Now, the minor team this year, I think they were very unlucky. They should have probably won. So I think they might be getting it right. But Cork have problems. And as I said, it's sad to see a guy of the calibre of Jimmy Barry Murphy having a day like today. But his team just aren't good enough.
All right. OK, look, we're headed for another break here on the programme. But now, on our way to that, there is a nice prize.
Off, which was unfortunate. It wasn't a dirty game. It was just unfortunate and a high enough tackle. But that they happen, and Cork playing with a sweeper. Then they really were down to 4 forwards. So that their goal threat probably decreased when that happened. So probably after that it probably we just tagged on a few scores and it made it a bit easier.
And are you that far behind?
By giving Galway credit, Henry Shefflin, very impressive performance.
Yeah, obviously in the Leinster final, I think they were happy enough with the performance. Obviously they didn't win. Kilkenny performed very well in the day. But I think today, Everton, we've synopsised with Galway the last few years. 2012 when they got to the All-Ireland against Kilkenny, their movement, their work rate, their wrist work, their scoring was there in abundance today, and they had that bit of aggression as well, and Jonathan Glynn typified that all during the game by winning ball, by using his physicality. So it was a very, very strong performance by Galway, and that's, I think, what we've always known. Galway can do that to any team, and to score 228, it's a massive score in an All-Ireland quarter-final.
And on top of that, they 22 wides. Joe wasn't their main scorer by any means, so there are pluses maybe for them going forward.
Yeah, and that's pluses for them because look, we've all heard that in the story that they're a one-man forward line, and that's really even a plus for Galway going into the next game, that they were able to score so much, like Henry says, and their star man not perform as well as possible and hitting the amount of wides that they did. They'll go into the next round against Tipperary in really good form and very positive.
I don't think Joe will drive 8 wides the next day. That's for one sure thing. To be fair, and I think that's the massive thing, and I think Jonathan Glynn touched on it, and his synopsis of the post-match interview after the match was that there's a lot of forwards there, and I think Jason Flynn, Cottle Mannion have shown that they're well able to play, and I think today again they've shown it. They showed against Dublin that great performance in the replay in the Leinster Championship, and I think they showed it again today. They have hurlers. We've always said that with Galway. I suppose the next step is, can they put the consistency in? The real test will come against Tipperary the next day.
Well, let's reflect on it. I mean, as you both said, there were a lot of good performances. The Mannion brothers stood out for you both.
Yeah, the Mannion brothers today, they were a joy to watch, and I'm looking here at Pádraig first. I think that a couple of things for defence here. you teach players in the modern game the importance of lifting their head when they get the ball. And time today, Pádraig, when he was coming out, lifted his head, picked out his men with class balls. And that's what you really need in the modern day game.
Yeah, and his brother was very similar, Donal, in the sense that he's always playing with their heads up. Both of them might say when they're in their backyards years ago were playing with their heads up, and they're continuing that. And as I said, he scored 3-3 against Dublin in the semi-final. But against Kilkenny, he was restricted in the space he had. But I think a very good management out of Anthony Cunningham. Where did he put him? He wasn't going to put him in the corner again where he's going to be restricted. He's out in the wing forward line. And this for it just shows it for me. It's just he's playing with full of confidence. He's not afraid to take on the players. And I know this didn't work out, but it was just the confidence and the awareness of what he wanted to do. And
he didn't waste it though either. He turns back looking for another option.
That's it. And if he was lacking confidence, he would have taken a shot from a bad angle there or whatever, and the ball would have went wide, and maybe there wouldn't have been too many complaints.
And this is it, like just at the end of the game, 100 yards, he just shortens the wrist and flicker the ball, and it's over the black spot. And 7 points from play, any day I take that, Des, and it was a great performance again by him today.
One of many, as you said, and you gave reference to Johnny Glynn.
Yeah, I met a man in Galway recently who told me Jonathan Glynn was the best ball winner in Ireland. I differ with that. I have a colleague of mine, TJ Reid, at home, who I think is up there, but he definitely proved it today. He was absolutely brilliant. As I said, the physicality, but ball when you can look out and pick the ball straight into his hands. I think this is 2 pucks of the ball over the bar, but just direct running as well. Not afraid to take on the players, and just overall, all during the game, his leadership qualities. Watch him here. Lorcan McLaughlin was just on. Oh my God, a heavy shoulder out over the line, and then he's leading the team. Joe wasn't getting the scores today. He's in getting the blocks and hooks. He got 1, 2, and as I said, he was just brilliant. And I think what for me typified the way he's leading was when he was taken off near the end of the match. The reception he got was magnificent. I think he's become a real leader for Galway now, and it's an absolute plus for them that you can look up. And he's a big man to direct that puck out down, because we all talk about sharp puck outs, which we talk about in Cork, but it's great to have a man like that in the half-forward line.
It is. I mean, it'd be a dream for a goalkeeper. Let's talk about the Cork puck outs, because they went short, sometimes they went long, and they weren't working quite a lot of the time. Yeah,
we showed a few clips. I said Jonathan Glynn, Galway were finding him. Pat Crone is a very similar player, and they're trying to find him out over the line. And Pat Crone was substituted at half-time. Here's another puck out looking for him out the wing. It's worked a lot of occasions for him, but it just wasn't working today. And even when they went short, like Kilkenny would be known for pucking the ball long. Brian Cody would be, get it down there, don't make the mistakes. But today, when they went short, it was turned over and went over the bar. And I think that's why Brian and Kilkenny don't want to use that. But I know you have a point in this, Donal.
Yeah, I know we were talking about the goalkeepers union maybe here, Des, and we were debating, arguing about it today. That's all right for Kilkenny when they've got some of the best ball winners that ever played the game of hurling, and that's if Anthony Nash was standing looking out at those guys, he'd be saying, I'm going to launch a miler every time. But he's looking out on attackers who are finding it hard to win first phase possession. So he's an intelligent player. He knows he needs to try and transfer the ball safely to those players. So it's a bit, it's a bit harsh on Anthony to be saying that, he doesn't have the luxury that the likes of a Kilkenny goalkeeper.
Some goalkeepers have told me that when a fella's not playing well, they sometimes hide it.
But it's a great point, as I often realise when I was in goals and I look out the field and when the pressure games are on, well, not often, but sometimes you see a guy turning around, and it's tough on the keeper, because even if he pucks the ball, Anthony Nash today poked the perfect ball to Mark Ellis. Mark got hooked, yet most of the people would turn to Anthony and say, what are you doing hitting sharp puck outs? Even though, to be fair, it was Mark's fault.
That's what Brian Cody would have said anyway, that's for sure, isn't it? The last 20 minutes, Galway just steamrolled Cork.
Yeah, obviously Damien Cullen was sent off, so they were down a man. But I think in the next match we see Dublin kept on fighting till the end. I just didn't see it from Cork today. After last year's performance in the semi-final, we could have picked out a number of scores, about 10 scores in the last 20 minutes. There's just too much freedom to strike the ball over. And here it is again. It's an opposite. It started in the first minute of the match, actually. This goal by Jonathan Glynn, which we'll look at again. He just strolled through, and like I said, again, I make reference to the Kilkenny full back line, JJ Delaney or Noel Hickey coming there. There's no way he'd sidestep Mark Ellis like that, and it was just too easy. And that was the first minute of the game, and that sets down a marker for the rest of the game. I don't care, Des. And it was too easy, and that's the way it continued. In the last 10 minutes to just give up a ghost.
Point taken from Henry, and it's Cork defence themselves will be really disappointing. And what's more worrying is that this is Austin Gleeson's goal 12 months ago. And you actually had most of the same personnel in defence at that time. So it's very worrying that they didn't learn from that.
And just this point here, Pat Horgan, who took a good game, bad sideline cut. But for me, it was just his body language. This is only after about 15 minutes. And I don't want to be singling him out, but for me, you make a mistake. What do? You go back and try to rectify that mistake. And I just didn't see it from the Cork players. And with 15, 20 minutes to go, their body language is down. And, you know, I know that you can talk about things going on in Cork and stuff like that. But for me, players have to keep going until the end. It mightn't work out for you the whole time, but you keep working.
Well, Cork hurling has become an issue now, debate. Since this afternoon, where is Cork hurling? Now, some people say don't know because you had a long-running battle with the county board that you have an agenda. What would you say?
Yeah, well, it was a long time ago, Des, and look, I have an agenda, and it's Cork hurling, and I actually pulled together a graph that I looked at last year, and I put it in the Irish Examiner. And whatever about me going on, and I can rant away here, just look at these facts. If you're a Cork hurling supporter, look at all the major...
15 Munster titles.
Yeah. What I did was I listed out all of the major hurling trophies. And you see here where Cork are since 2009. Again, I can start...
You're not just bottom, they're miles behind there. Look at 2 compared to 7, 10, 10, 15.
Miles behind. And we're out of the championship this year. There's a lot of there's other teams on that who have the potential to add to that list. And I think it tells its own story. And yes, of course, players must take responsibility. And it was disappointing. And it's disappointing for me to have to stand here or sit here and listen to Henry Shefflin talking about Cork players and maybe not having the same spirit as other counties or Kilkenny and not dying with their boots on. And of course they must take responsibility. And you know, Jimmy has to take responsibility, but you know, Jimmy is doing the best with what he has. He reminds me of like a substitute school teacher in a poor school that's doing his best. The pupils are doing their best, but the principal and the school is just a bad school. And you know, there are people who need to take serious responsibility for this result today. And of course, yes, Frank Murphy is the Don of GA, and this weekend has been a particularly bad weekend for hurling in Cork. And
well, the Don has all kinds of connotations now, in fairness.
And he has the responsibility, but I think there's a group of people around Frank, actually a group of stooges and yes-men that I'm not even sure they're telling Frank as to how bad things are, that need to take serious responsibility also. And the last group of people that I'll say are the clubs. The clubs are not doing what they should be responsible for doing and holding the county board to task. There's that graph I showed you to start there. They actually remind me of school children who are lying in bed and hoping someone is going to come along and call them in case that they're going to be late for school. They're actually asleep in Rome while Rome burns.
But you're suggesting they don't care now. They patently do care.
There's every person I named there does care. From Frank, right? I know Frank. Frank will give his arm for Cork to win. But he knows and the group around him. They of course they would. They want Cork to win.
But then it's unfair to call them stooges.
But they know as much about serious level sport as I know about the sleeping habits of the Ayatollah. There should be a director of hurling appointed in Cork who is separated. Give him a 5-year contract. Let him do a root and branch review. And what I'd say to the clubs is, as a start to that review, you look at the appointments email that came out to all the Cork bodies over the last couple of days and take a real look at it and look at the way it's structured. And the second thing I'd ask is...
That's about getting county selectors for next year.
County managers on board. Yeah. And the second thing I'd ask you to do is that this year, a lot of the Skeena Skull competition was played in Musgrave Park, the home of, or one of the homes of Munster Rugby. And if you were a club chairman who really cares about what's going on, I'd encourage you to start there, for example, and ask questions and don't take the first answer you're given to start.
I know, but Kilkenny kids that have skill if they're playing in Buckley Park in soccer or in a rugby ground.
What I'd like to know, Donal, is that the graph shows that there's not winning titles at senior level, but they're not winning them underage as well. Is that where the problem is? Is it that because I see these skillful players coming through, I see Seamus Harmony, I see Conor Leanne, I say, geez, they're great players. So is it the underage structures or what is the issue? Because I think there's no doubt about it. I saw it against Clare. I was down at that game, and I was very impressed with Cork that day. So, you know, and they're not old players, so I'm finding it hard to figure out where is the missing thing, because
But you've answered, Henry. You wouldn't want to be Sherlock Holmes looking at that graph there to figure out that you look at the lack of underage success
compared to Clare, Waterford, etc.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making.
So it's the underage structures.
Do you want me to repeat myself?
No. But stop calling him stupid. All right, Donald, right. It's time to name our man of the match then. So, Donald, who are the nominees then from this afternoon?
The nominees are Johnny Glenn. Henry spoke about his physicality today. Cathal Mannion got 7 points. His brother, Pádraig, I spoke about the contribution that he made.
Yeah. So the three of them. And it's great to see the two Mannions there. They'll be proud of that. But who gets the overall?
Well, it's not often a man who scores 7 points for play doesn't win man of the match, but unfortunately Cathal is very unlucky today. But for us, it was just Jonathan Glenn. I think from the minute go, he set the tempo with that great goal. His ball-winning ability was just unbelievable all day, and his physicality, he just really put in a hard shift. And I suppose anything you'd ask for a half-forward, he contributed today, and he was a deserving winner of the man of the match.
All right, so congrats to him. He's now known, by the way, after his post-match interview today as Jonathan F. Glynn in Ardrahan. But he spoke with Joanne after the game, and this is a different interview to the one he did earlier.
Jonathan, congratulations on today. Have the thoughts already started to turn towards an All-Ireland semi-final and, more importantly, Tipperary?
I suppose we've 3 weeks now to try and get it right. Like last year, Tipperary, they bet us as well down here, in fairness. So like we've just knuckled down now for next week and try and get the hunger up again.
Well, from today's performance, how close are you to what you need to be in order to beat this Tip team?
Well, you need another 10, 20, 25% on top of what we did there. Like, I know the scores came our way, in fairness. Like, I think lads are just shooting us going over. Like, we were lucky we got the rub of the green, but if we want to push on again, progress in the rest of the year, we have to up it again another 20%, especially our work rate there.
OK, well, best of luck with that and well done today. You, of course, are the Etihad RT man of the match, and we've got Cara Maloney from Etihad to give you your award.
Yeah, well done to Jonathan. Now, still to come on the programme, Dublin versus Waterford in the hurling. Joe Bradley and Kieran Whelan reflect on the football qualifier action. See you shortly.